Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back, and thanks for hanging out with me again today. Well, as you can see, we've got the Clod Buster done, and it came out really well. It's not 100% perfect, but are any of them? So, basically, if you guys have not seen the chassis restoration, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, there's a link here, and I'll try to put a link down in the description as well, so you guys can go back and see how the chassis got to the point it was. Now, unfortunately for the body, there was not that many pictures. Just one of those things. A lot of the stuff was messy, and just did not think about taking pictures along the way. I generally don't. For some reason, with the build part of it, I'm really good with the pictures, but with the body part of it, it kind of slips my mind. What we did is I stripped the complete body down, and I ended up wet sanding the body. Basically, whatever funk and gunk had built up on that and caked in and baked into the paint was not coming off. I could have probably salvaged it with some cleaners and some polish and stuff like that, but there were some scrapes and scratches and imperfections in the paint. So decided to go ahead and, sorry, had a piece of fuzz on there, it was driving me nuts. Decided to go ahead and take some 600 grit wet and dry paper and just wet sanded the whole thing. Got rid of that rough, almost sandpaper feel that it had, and prepped it for the paint and took it outside, painted it. Now, using the TS8 Italian red paint that it calls for, I don't really love that paint. The red paints from Tamiya, for some reason, always give me fits. They are super thin, super translucent, and just have odd characteristics about them. I fought it with the A-Team van that you guys have not fully seen yet. The red on that really, 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 really fought me. To the point to where I had to sand it down twice because it just randomly crazes up. You spray one coat on, perfectly fine. Spray the next coat on, perfectly fine. Spray a third coat on, all of a sudden it crinkles and wrinkles up in just random spots for no reason. I had a little bit of it on the roof. There's a little bit here and a little bit here. It's not bad, but it is noticeable. There was a spot on the door, but thankfully Clem covered that up. And I think there was one other little minor spot, but I think one of the decals covered that up as well, so not that big of a deal. And so anyway, the body has 2 full cans of Italian red on there because it took that much to cover all the places where I sanded down through the original paint and got into some of the white. So where it was red on top of red, looked fine. It was red on top of the white undercoating. It looked like pink. So it was like nice bright red and pink stripe. And so it took, 6, 7 coats to get it good. Now, one of the coats, I guess our air conditioning units are on the side of the house over there. I guess at some point the heat kicked on and stirred up some dust because when I sprayed it, everything looked great. When I came back, it had fuzzies all in the paint. So I had to lightly wet sand that down to get it back down smooth because, if anybody's ever tried to paint over a fuzzy hoping it would go away, they don't. Got the body done. Hand painted on the surrounds all the way around. Now, normally this would be black. All the window surrounds would be black. I just decided, a big monster truck is going to have some chrome and show to it. So I just painted them all in the chrome silver paint. Now, that is not perfect. The hands are nowhere near as steady as they used to be. So there's a little bit of, struggling. Plus, shiny paint, bright lights, trying to paint on fresh, shiny paint. I was doing this. So between the hands being a little shaky and the eyes going, what is going on? It was rough. But the decals came out really nice. These are all MCI reproduction decals of the originals. They all went on very well. Basically, there is one here, this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one. So you just have to kind of, basically I started in the corner back here and got it to where the point lined up where it was supposed to, got that on, made the gap to match the other gap, ran that up, and it kind of rolled over the bed. This one, you basically have to start with the door handle because you have to cut out for the door handle. So that one's kind of fixed position. And then this one goes on, and then that one goes on. All the rest are just, eyeballing them and lining them up best you can. Some of them are a little bit crooked, but, 2 feet away, you can't really tell. The roll bar light pods are replacements. The light covers, I guess, are original. I did sand them, repainted them, put the new stickers on. The roll bar that this had on it, a lot of the chrome had just faded away. If you guys have ever built a Clod Buster with the chrome, you'll know underneath the chrome isn't on super well. A lot of times they're just really, really thin coated, and it had just kind of all just flaked off over the years. So this is actually the roll bar off of my old Clod that I built, probably going on 20 years ago now. And that had actually longer than that. We're probably talking 25 years ago now. And I ran it as a Clod Buster for a while. And then when the crawler craze came around, I decided that was going to be a custom crawler. So rebuilt the whole new chassis, links, everything for it, and put a Lexan body on there just to take the weight off. And, it was going to tumble around the rocks and break up the body. So I have an old beat up body out in the garage. Thankfully, the roll bar, I had already taken the lights off of it, and the roll bar hadn't taken much damage. So I used that roll bar on here instead. So it's retro-ish. We had to replace the front bumper because the whole corner up here was broken off. I replaced the rear bumper as well, just so we have matching chrome front and rear. And the other one did have some rock scrapes from it getting up and dragging on the bumper. Otherwise, I did replace the springs on here. These vintage springs that were on here, I could not get them to clean up without stripping every bit of chrome off of it and basically sanding everyone down using steel wool to try to, get them clean because there's just so much rust pitting on there. So there are new springs on here. Replaced the front knuckles because one, where the steering arm connects had started to crack, and then one where the pivot bolts go through, it had started to crack there. So new front ones for that. So other than that, it was all elbow grease, spit shine, and new paint. Oh, I did replace the chrome blower. The other one, the sticker was all peeling up and torn up, and when I peeled it up, it left a nice shiny spot where the sticker was, and the rest of it had whatever grime had built up and caked on, and I could not get it clean. It just started peeling the chrome off, basically. So I did have to replace the blower. Yeah, other than that, I think everything else on here is pretty much... Oh, the servos I did replace. And thanks for the guys who said, hey, check those servos. They're probably just wired weird compared to the standard Futaba wiring. And they were. They signal and power and ground are all switch swapped. So... just was not going to work on modern gear, and I did want to put a good radio system in this. I may stick a vintage radio system back in it just for display, big long antenna and, all that stuff. But for now, I did want to put at least a reliable radio system in here just so it didn't glitch and take off across the yard because it's still running mechanical speed control. So I will put up some up-close pictures of it before it goes out for the run, and then we're just going to take it out in the yard. I am not going to try to get this thing muddy, dirty, messy. It's just going to ride around the grass. The tires are not the best. I do need to put a couple drops of super glue on them before we head out, because they will. I'm holding the wheel still, and it's not because I have the silicone on them. That's how they were before. They're just tired. Tired tires. So just a couple drops on the back and maybe one or two on the front. We'll just kind of lock them in place. I don't want them fully glue them all the way around because I may end up, replacing the tires at some point. They are starting to crack a little bit. But, that's a down the road project. For right now, it is good enough. It looks nice. And hopefully it runs well. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Everybody out there, as always, be happy, be healthy, be safe. Enjoy the up-close photos and the run footage. And everybody have a great weekend. See you guys.